How's it going, everyone? How's it going? Good to see everyone here. I plan on posting this to the second channel after we're done talking. So, in case you guys are seeing this, in case you're not a Patreon member, you can check out the link down below to Patreon. Do this every couple of weeks with this tier of Patreon member, where I can go through, answer any questions. Sometimes these are big groups, sometimes they're small. A lot of people ask me, like, can I pay you for a one-on-one or something? And I don't do that. I like to keep it to small groups, or a little bit bigger depending on what group you're looking at. But definitely, if you're interested in that, everyone can pretty much ask any question that they have in this group, because right now we only have 3 people in here, and I think my phone's one of them, actually, because I am just making sure I get all the comments and all the questions. So if you guys feel like asking any questions, feel free. Otherwise, I can just go over some stuff that I've been seeing recently, and just kind of my general thoughts on it. So I'll let you guys put questions in the chat here, but until then, I'll just kind of go through. We saw some big movements yesterday, and even some big movements after hours. So this is just a stock watch list I have on WeBull. We saw some big moves after hours. AON, or one stock, the symbol is AON, or A1. We saw that one jump 10 or 11%, and honestly, I was kind of confused at first because it moved up so quickly. I looked and there was no news, but what happened was actually that Charlie from what's the name of the channel? I can't believe I'm forgetting it. Charlie from one of the biggest YouTube finance channels talked about it. I'll pull it up here because I'm sure I have it. I watch his videos sometimes, but he talked about it from Zip Trader. Jeez. He talked about it and how ARK was betting big on it. I didn't watch the video, but he was talking about it, got like 89,000 views, sent it up 10% after hours. Besides that, we saw some smaller moves from VACQ, which is a company that I own. They're the ones I just need to remember, right? But they're the ones merging with Rocket Labs here. So this one is one that probably will be included in the ARK X. And, along those lines, people are asking me when I think ARK X will come out and release their holdings and stuff like that. And I believe they're supposed to be, at least this is what people are thinking, a lot of people are saying end of March. So we might see Rocket Labs or VACQ, NPA, a bunch of other companies as soon as the next couple weeks talk about or be included in this new ETF. So hopefully we'll see that soon. I don't know for a fact if that's when it will actually be released, but hopefully we'll see that soon. I think HOL stock, I think SFTW stock are definitely going to be in there too. I'm interested more to see the weighting of the portfolio than necessarily what's in it, because I don't know how many stocks can really be included in this, because even if we include all the ones that we talk about, even if we include 3D printing stocks, even some 5G SPACs or stocks, I don't know if we can get up to that 30 to 50 range. So I'm more curious, like I said, the weighting of them. I want to know what's the top holding. So that's going to be interesting. We saw some big moves just during the general market too. We saw TPGY, which is a company that we actually bought into. We saw that one move 13.5%, which is kind of crazy. It moved about 8% after we bought it. We were in at 1950. And this is a charging stock. If you guys didn't see that video, it's a charging stock that I think is a lot cheaper than something like ChargePoint. It's trading at, if you're looking at 2022 multiples, it's trading at about a third the price. They're growing a little bit quicker than ChargePoint. Now, in that video, I talked about how I didn't really want to sell ChargePoint at all, just because I think that they will still take advantage of the infrastructure bill that's most likely to come in the coming couple of years from Biden. I think that they'll take advantage of that. They're also the biggest competitor here in the US, but TPGY is the biggest in Europe. Europe market is probably going to move quicker, at least that's what people think, towards EV adoption. But I think having some in both of these stocks are good. Also, We saw Gik move up a good amount. I sold that one a couple days ago. I had made like, I don't know, 8 or 10% or something, I want to say, just real quick. And I just didn't build out the position enough, but it was a good low swing trade. FRSX went up 6.5%, which is nice to see too, because that one had kind of been beaten down. And then the video I just released was actually on Bitcoin and crypto and all that. So if you didn't see today, Bitcoin is right at 60,000. So it actually went above 60,000, almost to 60.4. And also Ethereum's floating around 1900. But it was kind of crazy to see this today because this is all-time highs. Also, Kathy Wood talked earlier this week about how she thinks crypto will be a fifth of people's portfolios moving forward. So instead of the normal 60-40 portfolio with 60% equity, 40% bonds, she thinks it's going to be a 60-20-20 portfolio, which is kind of crazy to think about, that individual investors might have 20% of their portfolio allocated towards crypto. It's kind of cool to think about, especially if you're investing in crypto, because think about the individual investor. Think about all the hedge funds that will have to have exposure to Bitcoin then too, and crypto in general. Think about all the ETFs. Think about all the VOOs or any, I guess not VOO, because that's just the S&P 500 index, but think about any balanced ETF or balanced retirement account that instead of like a 60-40 allocation, they'll have 60-20-20. That would be huge. That would be a huge amount of money going into crypto. And as Bitcoin matures even more, as there's more money thrown at Bitcoin miners, as time goes on, just in general, I guess, Bitcoin will be mined less and less because of the halving effect. So every few years they have how much you can mine Bitcoin or how much work you have to do to get the same amount of Bitcoin. So they actually double the amount of work, but that varies depending on how many people are mining or how much is being mined. So we'll have less mines, so less inflation. It'll become more and more scarce over time. I mean, the supply will go up slightly, but there'll be way more people, I think, interested in it. And I think we'll just see fluctuation, like less fluctuation, because so many large companies will be buying these cryptos, that we won't see as much price manipulation either. And I think we can kind of see that a lot recently. Like the green days, there's still green days for Bitcoin and Ethereum because I think there's so many large companies buying, but I don't think we see quite the volatility we saw even like a year or two ago. And then we also had Hims and Hers go up a good amount. That one is a telehealth company. BioLace, there's just a lot of green. Now, that being said, it kind of opened up real strong. The market opened up real strong, and then throughout the day, it dipped a little bit after it opened, and then it kept on increasing towards the end of the day. Biden spoke, and that helped a good amount. Now, just looking forward, some stocks that I feel like are valuable, some stocks that I think could do well. First of all, ChartPoint is still in the upper 20s. I think that's still one that will get pushed up over time. Now, TPGY is one that I want to build up more of a position in. I could see that, though, being one of those issues where now, like, I made an initial position, but I could see it like jumping to the mid 20s. I just don't have because I just bought the house, I don't have all the capital to really build up the position like I want. Like I'd want to triple it or quadruple it from here. So I could see that going up into the mid 20s. In mid 20s, I still think it's a good value. Even at 30, I think it's a good value. Up in the mid 30s, though, I start to lose interest. But that's something to take into account there. AHAC is another one that I think people are kind of sleeping on. I might add more to this one at some point. I think that one is in the biotech space, and they have some big names that are attached with them. And I talked about them in my video yesterday. I talked about AHAC and how I thought that it was actually a really good value. And what I just realized was I really need to add this. That's embarrassing. If I do that in the future, guys, feel free to let me know. I thought that you guys could see this, but AHAC is one that I think you can add money to, and it's still got the SPAC protection. It's still being valued pretty low. compared to where I think it could be with the big relationships that it has. Now we have all the space stocks, and I thought about talking about this last night too, like in the Patreon or something, but the space stocks in general, I think once Cathie Wood comes out with her ETF, especially if we see some green days between now and then, like a lot of people are kind of cautious about Cathie Wood, I think right now, because there was a red market and everyone, like not everyone, some people are saying Cathie Wood's just worthless if there's a red market or something. If we see a little bit more green, people start moving back and think, oh, okay, Cathie Wood really is a genius or something. Then we can take a look. I think some of these space stocks, ACU, HOL, SFTW, I think a lot of these will probably move up a lot after that gets announced. And then also Teladoc Health, there's another one, just a telehealth company that I think, I think it will continue to go up in years to come. And I think it's such a good business model. And it's really the market leader. I think that one's still a good place to put money if you're looking long term. Now, of course, anything happens short term. ACIC is another space stock that I didn't mention, but at $11.15, not a ton of downside. Now, you could take a look at that versus some of the competitors. I've talked about that. I am invested in ACIC, but yeah, HOL is another one. I guess there are just a handful of them that you can look at. And another one, Matterport, even at $17, I still like that one. I don't know. I really like Matterport. I almost got in it at like 18 or 19 and I waited. And then I got in, I think at 16 and then rode it all the way down and kept on buying more and more. And I just really like that one. I think it's one of my larger holdings now, probably top 5 or 6 holdings. So those are some different options for you if you're looking for stocks at a pretty good value, I think, right now. Now, do you guys have any questions? I see we have just a couple people in here. If you guys don't have any questions, that's fine. We might even wrap it up early. If no one's got any questions, we've done that once or twice before where we just didn't have a lot of people. I mean, like maybe it's just a nice day outside. It's nice here in Holland, Michigan. So I could see that being why people aren't on here possibly. I mean, we have people from all over, so probably not super likely, but I'm not against like stopping this early if no one's got anything. I just like opening it up in case anyone does have questions. Heck, maybe I'll share it to the whole group here and talk with everyone for like 15 minutes or something. So yeah, maybe I'll do that right now. Actually, just share it to the group. Let's see. Okay, one moment here, guys. I appreciate you guys waiting for me on this. So we'll probably go about 15 more minutes or something. Okay, I know a better way of doing this. Okay, let's see. Almost done. So if you guys do have any questions, now is probably the time to ask since we're going to have a couple more. We're going to have a handful of people more in here in a second. I just have to copy this for a second here. And this is a long process though when people are watching. Seems like it should be faster. Done there. Let's post one on patreon.com and then we're good. Okay. All right, sweet. So I just shared that to a couple people. Um, so we should be good now. So anyone that's just coming in now, just wanted to let you guys know. In one of the Patreon tiers, I call people twice a month, and we just had a couple people in here. No one was really asking questions, so I wanted to share it for about maybe 15 minutes or so with everyone else. Again, just we do this all the time. This is one of the tiers, but wanted to see if you guys had any questions, so thought we'd open it up. So why did I sell Gik? So with Gik, I just didn't have a position built out, and I wanted to add to some other positions. I just bought my house, so I don't have like a ton of cash to throw at the market, so I had to clear up some positions. And I just didn't have enough in it, so I fully believe that one of the stocks that I sold would go up. I've done this before too. One is bound to go up, one's bound to go down. The rest are bound to go wherever, especially in a green market, they're going to go up. But I just didn't have enough of a position to make it make sense to hold on to it. I either want to buy more or I want to sell it, and I had to do one of those. Finance, good to see you. Thanks for joining. ATX says, congrats on 100K. Appreciate that. Thank you. Well earned and well deserved. I appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys for watching these videos and feeling like you get some value out of it, because without you guys, I wouldn't be doing this here. Thoughts on ride stock. So this one is a really interesting one. It fell down to what, $14 or so? With ride stock, I think there's some risk whether they're first market and whether they can actually become, a big player in the market because of the fact that they're so much smaller. But if they can be get on that first mover advantage, they can scale up and stuff like that. And let's say the short report was wrong and they actually have a lot of pre-orders. I didn't actually read the short report disclosure, but if they can actually do that, I think that's going to be big for them. I think if they can actually make all those vehicles and deliver them, that's going to be big. And I think the stock price will go up because honestly, they're beaten down right now. You caught me while I was watching your Bitcoin video. Yeah, sorry about that. I really like Bitcoin though. I don't know if you guys saw that. I posted a video on the main channel. Bitcoin hit 60K today. So kind of interesting. If you guys want, there is a link to BlockFi down below. I had the day after Tesla bought Bitcoin, I had more people use that link than ever before because I see how many people click on it. I see how many people go through with it. I see like the number of sales too. And there are like 200 people that clicked that link and deposited that day. So more people are moving money into it, especially I think I was saying this earlier in the stream too, just to the couple people that were here with Kathy Wood talking about a 60-20-20 portfolio, 60 equity, 20 bonds, 20 in crypto. That's kind of big. I mean, that's kind of huge. So if a lot of retail investors did do that, I think that would be pretty game changing, because when you think about ETFs having to do that then too, hedge funds, all the big money too, having to move money in crypto, that could be big. And they're going to most likely put a lot of it in Bitcoin, at least early days. Isaac, good to see you. Appreciate you coming in. Okay, charge point short term. So with anything short term, it's hard to tell, right? I mean, like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, who would have said that charge point would have hit like $20? No one. So I think you have to look longer term, unless you're like a day trader or something like that. You have to look at least like at 6 months, 1 year, something like that. And I mean, there are catalysts, right, that could happen for a lot of stocks short term, but it's hard to tell if the general market downturn has a downturn or something. But I like ChargePoint. I think that they're going to be the US winner. TPGY might be a better, cheaper investment overall, but I think there's something to be said for them taking advantage of possible infrastructure bills, of the stimulus bill, stuff like that. What's my highest conviction trade right now? So I don't know. I don't know if I'd phrase it like a trade right now. My highest conviction stock, that's a good question. Let me pull up my WeBull account here. So I think it depends too on what you're talking about, like highest conviction to double, triple, 10% up, something like that. I think it's hard to know exactly. I'm just pulling it up here though. I think if you're talking long term, there are a lot of different plays. But if you're talking short term, I still think SFTW around $11. Like there's so little downside to that it almost is silly. I think that's one thing to take a look at. Or if you're talking like a 2-3x, it's going to be something different. But that is kind of what I'm thinking there. Like SFTW at $11, still great. GHVI, I still really like. Matterport long term. That might be the stock of the century. Some people, or the stock of the decade. Some people are saying that too. So those are kind of my thoughts. CleanSpark still at 31. If it dips again, I think that's going to be big. But you have to realize too that that there's some risk in CleanSpark. I did a full video on it a couple days ago. ChargePoint bought 2620, good entry. Yeah, I think that's a good entry point. Favorite 9 tech, 9 non-high growth stocks besides Disney and banks. Okay, let me out my one finance portfolio then, because I have a couple stocks that are longer term that are not necessarily growth stocks there. Okay, so I still have Foot Locker, and that's actually a decent sized position. Part of that is because I bought it really low. I bought it like under 20, some at 22. I like Store Capital a lot. So that's a REIT. That's a company that I really feel strongly in. And I've talked about it before, but I don't know if I've talked about it recently. I think that's a really good company though. Take a look at it. They're a company that rents to like worse grade tenants than something like Realty Income. So they have big clients, but their credit rating's a little bit lower, which gives them actually a better return. And it actually is safer in a way because they can get the financials of every single building that they lend out to. And some like Starbucks, for example, some of the large chains don't give you financials on individual locations because they're so big. They have a lot of power. They don't really have to do that. So I would take a look at them. PSTG better at value than ChargePoint. So I take a look at all the charging stocks. I think ChargePoint's probably the best value here in America. And then again, the one that I talked about yesterday is the best in Europe, TPGY. Congrats, Sam. Too late to buy ChargePoint. Appreciate it. I don't think it's too late to buy ChargePoint if you're looking long term and you like the company. I still think it's cheaper than a lot of its competitors, but they're going to have a big year this year coming up because they actually have to grow and they have to put up numbers because they didn't grow this last quarter, but they weren't expecting to either. We already knew that, and they actually beat expectations on revenue at least. What are my thoughts on Volta? So I think it's more expensive, if I remember right, than ChargePoint. There are a lot of smaller charging companies, but I'd say I think ChargePoint's the market leader for a reason. I never saw anything about Aero from you. Are you not interested? I am interested. There was just a lot going on the last couple weeks. So while it dipped, everything else did too. And it's a little bit more speculative too. So I was investing in larger companies than Aero the last couple weeks. Like they were like a $200 or $300 million company at one point during the dip. Yeah, I do think it has promise though. It's an interesting thing that they do in the EV sector though. Was ChargePoint dip because of earnings? Yeah, some people expected them to do better, I think, or to give better guidance in the future. I don't know, because we knew that they were going to be getting revenue around this much because they gave their preliminary earnings already. But I think the big loss kind of worried people a little bit too, and the fact that they had less in what was that charging revenue or something. I forgot, their new charging revenue, something like that. This quarter compared to the last quarter, or the quarter last year, Q4. I feel like there's more volatility in Bitcoin mining stocks, but way more upside if you look at the percentages of growth rather than owning Bitcoin itself. What are your thoughts? Yeah, so the Bitcoin mining stocks in general trade at they move at multiples of Bitcoin. I agree. There's more risk on it too, just because you're buying a company as opposed to the asset. But that's one reason I kind of like CLSK too, because they have the other side of their business too. But yeah, there's more upside because they can acquire more miners. So that's something to take into account down the line too, if you're looking at getting into this sector. TPGY at 21, is it too high? I don't think it's too high. I was saying this earlier. I think under 30, it's still a good value because it's still only then half as expensive as ChargePoint if you're looking at 2022 revenue. But it could drop still, because if it goes up to 30, it's been up to 34 or something like that before. It could drop. It's just you're putting a little bit more risk out there at 30 or something. But I think at 21, it's not too risky if you're looking long term again. Posh stock, goodbye. Yeah, I haven't looked at that one too much. What are my thoughts on Roblox IPO? So I actually talked about this in the video yesterday. I did I answered a bunch of questions from all the Patreon members, and that one's interesting. I like the company. They're growing so quickly, quarter over quarter. I think they had like a 20% growth, and consistently. But it's trading at such a high multiple. I think if it fell around the 56 range, which I don't think it probably will, unless we see another massive dip in the market. If it fell to about $56 per share, I'd really take a look at it and I'd probably invest. At least I definitely consider investing very strongly. That's like a price to sales ratio, a forward price to sales ratio of maybe 20. Now it's in a little bit higher. Of course, I could be wrong. I could go up to 150 this year. Who knows? Are you just going to be holding Bitcoin and Ethereum and keep buying dips as they come along? Yeah, so I'm going to be putting money in consistently. That being said, I don't know if I'll put in every single Friday or every second week on the Friday or something. I might see if I can I might give myself a time range throughout the week. And if it drops from 60 to 58, maybe I'll pick it up or something. I haven't decided exactly I want to do that, but I do want a dollar cost average over time. I do think it's going to be something though that is going to go up pretty quickly this year. Throughout the year, I think it's going to be a lot more expensive at the end of the year. But I could be wrong, but I'm going to keep on buying as time goes on. TPGY versus ChargePoint, better value. Yeah, I kind of hit on that earlier. I think TPGY is probably a better value, but ChargePoint has the US component and the infrastructure component and stuff. Thoughts on A1? So I saw that Charlie talked about it. I feel like I've done a video on it before. I guess this is the problem with making a lot of videos for months on end. I think I might have done a video on it. I haven't bought anything in the 3D printing sector, but I saw Charlie from Zip Trader talked about it and it jumped 10% after hours. Yeah. So I haven't bought it. It might be good if you're bullish on the sector long term though. Blink versus ChargePoint. ChargePoint's cheaper. Blink probably grows a little bit faster. I can't remember their financials right now though. Has anyone reached out to you about not being able to link their bank account to BlockFi? The option to do doesn't show up on mine. Account was verified too. So I had an interesting thing that happened with me with BlockFi. I was trying to move money out of it, and I think it only connects to some of the big banks. I think it probably connects to 10 or 20 banks, but I have a really small regional bank here that I used to work at, and it didn't connect to that, but I have Chase too. So it might just be I don't know if they just don't work with all the mini banks. Now, I don't have a problem moving money to it, but moving money out of it, I need to move it to Chase Bank and then move it over after that. So I'm not exactly sure what that is. And then you say the option to do so doesn't show up on mine. Yeah, so you should be able to link it. Trying to think. I think when I send money to it, I think I can do it from either, but Yeah. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Any thoughts on Clove? Uh, I haven't looked into it in a while. I feel like that's one that I really should do more DD on though. What are your thoughts on Palantir? I like Palantir a lot. I bought it during the dip. You are welcome. What are your thoughts on IPOE? So I'm still holding it. I didn't really build out a big enough position on it, but I didn't really early. Let me see what position actually is. What my cost basis is. I think I'm still up a good amount, and it fell down a lot after the Chamath stuff. I bought it in under 15. I think it's probably a good long-term hold, but I might still sell out of it. I say that's a good long-term hold, but I still might sell out of it because I didn't build up my position enough. Part of that, though, is I was investing so much less, like even a couple months ago, than I am now. Like the amounts that I thought were like pretty decent positions just to throw in a stock were so much smaller, like 2 or 3 times smaller. Super Bowl, congrats on the proposal on the house stamp. Thank you. I appreciate it. Then I should probably move quicker through these because I do have to get out. I do have to go in here. I have to go here in a second. I'm trying to say. Have you heard of HEPA? No. Great insider buying and 35% short float. Just wondering. No, I haven't heard about it. Maybe I'll take a look. Aero is just a dumb concept. It's just an electric golf cart. Yeah, it's interesting what they're doing. Is there a way to put Bitcoin in an IRA account? Yes. So what is that called? If you guys know Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, I believe is the name of it. It's like a ETF that holds Bitcoin. So take a look at that. There are expenses to it, but take a look. New house tour when? We'll have to see. I don't know how fast we told them that we would give them 3 months to move out because that was part of our offer to get it accepted for a little bit less because they're building a house. So maybe 3 or 4 months. When am I sending the invite to the wedding? Man, I don't even know if we're gonna invite like all the family. We might be having like a smaller wedding. Thoughts on AMC? I have to have more money to throw at the market. I think Kevin says that all the time. Like he doesn't have money to spend on stuff because he just buys stocks. Thoughts on AMC? I haven't looked at the financials that much. It's just been so crazy over the last couple months. I haven't really tried to get into it. I didn't really like AMC, the business model before though. So I don't know. Thoughts on Envis? What's my price target? That's one that I haven't gotten into a lot just because I don't hold a position. Same thing with BCRX biosector. Yeah, so I saw like one other person mention it, but I haven't seen too much. Have I looked into FRX? Let me pull that one up here. I will have to get out here in about 2 minutes here, guys. Apologize. Just wanted to include everyone on this though. Force Road acquisition I have, but who are they merging with? Is this okay? Yeah. So I did a video on this one. I did a full video on this is the Beachbody one, I think, right? I've done a full video on it actually. A great Bitcoin miner that is not as high as Riot and Mara is XNet. Oh, interesting. Guys and gals, XNet is the next big Bitcoin miner. What's my thought on IPOE? I hit on that a little bit. Do you think AHAC will go up soon? Very cheap now. Yeah, so I just mentioned that in my video the other day that I think a lot of people forgot about it. They have some really big partnerships and they're in the biotech sector. So I think they probably I like them a lot, but who knows what's going to happen with some of these growth stocks. But I still hold my position. Thoughts on Neo? I think it's a great company if you're bullish on the EV sector. Is Palantir still a good buy price? Let me see. I don't remember what it's at right now. If you're looking long term, yes, it's at about $27. It's still down a good amount from its highs. Let's take a look. Even just a month ago, or at the end of January is 39. Yeah, so it's still down 31%. Just know that it might be a little bit volatile because we did jump up a little bit this week, but now it's not that high a price still. I mean, we went up 20% this week, but we were down so much. So yeah, if you're looking long term, still a good buy, I think. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. What are my thoughts on Face Drive stock? I'm not sure about that one. I did watch a video on it like months ago, but that's it. Okay. Thoughts on Ethereum versus Bitcoin? Ethereum's a little bit riskier, but has more growth potential. And I have not looked at either of these two either. So I appreciate it, guys. I probably will have to jump off here. I appreciate you guys jumping in, though, for a little while. I know not like a long time here, but happy weekend. Nice week that we had. Appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.